Hopefully you can hear me now. My microphone was not connected for some reason. Starting a little early today because I want to get some outside time before the sun goes down. So I'm just gonna dive right in and start sketching it here. For those of you that don't know, working on some Elder Scrolls fan art again. Having fun with it. Drawing Blackreach. Decided to take out the old pencil for this one. How y'all doing today? If you're there. Little guy, I don't usually have many watching off the bat, so sometimes I'm talking to myself for the first 20 minutes. So I just blab about what I'm doing, really. I do want to... I forget what they're called. One of the enemies. It's called a Dwemer Spear. Yeah. Get it over here on my references. Let's see what's lucky. There we go. Think about having him stand right here. In front of the, on top of the staircase here. Also, I'm trying to have a dwarven ballista, although it's a bit far away, so I don't think it'll make sense till we have the color coming in. All right. Establish some more layers here. Got an art show coming up in September. I think it's on the 13th. It's called Art in the Alley, Dixon, Tennessee. So if you're in Tennessee, hope to see you there. Okay. So we got another structure going into the ceiling. Way in the back. Just darkening this line a tad. It's a very dark scene, lighting wise. Most of this will be in shadow. So, trying to get the placement in. I got my kitty in my lap here. She's demanding pets. I tried telling her that I'm streaming, but she didn't seem to understand what that meant, so. Right, Beans? She's so sweet though. Hard to resist a kitty snuggle. Or you feel bad telling them no, you know? She asks so politely too. She's not like a demanding kitty. So makes it even harder to say no. I normally wouldn't let her on my lap when I'm painting, because she has this pretty white fur, and Pretty much like a blank white canvas. I don't want to paint my cat on accident. So this structure is really going to play a big part in evening out the third point we got going on here. As in 3-point perspective. It has a sort of gate to it. Let's see, so it's smaller than the staircase. It sits about here. I want it to lean to the left. This is like this. Don't want it to be too drastic. The door sits a little bit to the left of center. And it has this gate on it, which it didn't really help me out in the watercolor sense to draw those bars, as they'll have to be lightened, but it's all good. Figure it out. Use some gouache or something. All done. See you later, kitty. Actually, I want to draw this much lighter. Yeah, if anything, it sits a little bit. Just a little bit over too. Or like that. It is vanishing out to our horizon, but where I have it placed, it's pretty much lining up with that line. So it will look level there. But not perfect. Just make it lean the slightest bit. Oh, forgot to press record. Didn't get too much done though, so that's fine. Try to, unless I'm gesture drawing, keep my pencil lines as if they're pen. Because to me, less erasing is better. Just start tarnishing the paper. I don't know, this is like another tower thing. The Dwemer be doing lots of weird stuff. That's why there's such a mystery in the lore. Got this little staircase, sort of. Comes down more drastically than that. I think I'll erase a little bit of my ground here. Just a little. As this is far back, it will get cut off. Got another. It's almost like fantasy steampunk or something. That's what Dwemer stuff looks like. Dwemer, Dwarven. Dwemer or Dwarven? This doesn't go too much higher. But I can start tilting it down. This thing's more like a rounded box. Where's paint? Okay, I see. Two like cogs on this. I think I decided to add the Dwemer sphere because it's just gonna scream Elder Scrolls more, you know? It's almost like these mushrooms are a little... It's like a little too perfect. And get some rocks. Rocks. Set this into the ground a bit there. Not mapping any value yet. Just getting the shapes in there. Oh, can't stop yawning. So it's the same sort of staircase that happened in the foreground. And we got a big tower. The thing is, it looks like I wish I could dial down the atmospheric perspective in the game just for the screenshots. As you can see, I got a little bit of smudgery going on here. Suppose I could use it to my advantage. And these actually attach to the roof. bit more domey than that, even. Because of the way I normally draw from things, I'm so used to looking away and interpreting several aspects with my own mind's eye. But in this case, it's probably more beneficial to tune into the things that are very dwemer, because they don't need to be redesigned, if that makes sense. They already are designed by the wonderful artists. Who made the game. Something like that. And these spaces was another thing. To make them more intentional here. This goes. Actually, I don't even know what that line is for. Weird. It's like my eraser got stuck to... An eraser shaving got stuck to the paper. Fancy. Fancy trim work. Need to make myself a LinkedIn link for chat. Let's see. Don't care if the lines are perfectly straight. To me, I like it. It's a little bit of style it adds. Hand drawn look. Depends really, but it's challenging to make stuff symmetrical, especially the more organic it gets. And that disappears behind the stairs. For the most part. Actually disappears behind this. Oh, yeah, actually the dwarven ballista right there. Okay. Now to fix this up. Actually, it was supposed to be more round. I've been super into frisbee golf lately. It's been my favorite recreational activity. I have to blame my friend Chris for getting me into it. Started off as fun and games, and now now I'm addicted. This is actually a connector to that building. Has a little peak of a roof. Connects there. And, another bit of... The thing is like you can tell that this isn't legitimate architecture. Because it's in a game. So like it... How do I say it? Like it doesn't have... like... It doesn't have 100% rhyme or reason. It's like you can tell it's a bunch of 3D models that are sort of connected together like Legos. So you know, occasionally I see a breezeway or a hallway, something like oddly connected to something, and can't really use like support beam logic with that. No, same with this thing. It's actually helped me to zoom in to see like what the hell's going on here. Gotta make it somewhat dimmer, because the thing is, you get a true Elder Scrolls fan in here that really pays attention to the details, you know? Often always designing my own things, so I find it more of a challenge to replicate. Kind of enjoying sketching this out, honestly. Draw these a little bit down towards the vanishing. Longer divide there. Seems to be more square. It's like this goes in. Probably not that much, but I'll stick with it. And then this is divided once. Doesn't necessarily line up with the other things. These, however, line up. Equally so, put them towards the vanishing point slightly, because we're very close to the horizon. That wasn't straight, was it? Q. honestly made up the ballista. It's pretty close. Gotta love that. Guess something close before you look at it. So it's like a satisfying drawing thing. This trim does line up, however, but it dips back a little bit. And then same thing here. Kind of dips. And then realigns with that trim. Gonna make it all look connected somehow. This comes down really tiny. I'm gonna make it a little bit thicker on my end here. This should be straight up and down. Perspective wise, right here, and I think I can fix it without having to backstep too much here before I get too ahead of myself. So I want to make this straighter. Sort of like that. Forgot to do my little indent situation though. It's like it almost looks like a gutter pipe, water spout, whatever you want to call it, downspout. Like a downspout on the side of the house. All right. And I want to show the roundness in this object, but I don't want to go too crazy. And we have more roundness up at the top. I think you're looking, think of it as looking at flat lines going around a cylinder, or looking at lines straight at a cylinder, and then the more you look up the cylinder, the more that they curve away from you. And then a smaller dude here in the middle. Things next to each other that make things make sense. Alright. Actually, so it's there. This little trim piece that comes in, sort of meets there. And so do the rest. Does not go past there. I think it juts out a little bit. Slightly rounded. Almost kind of like giant concrete blocks laying next to each other. Wonder what stone the Dwemer used on all their structures. I'd love to watch the guy that made this shit up slowly draw them and figure out how he wants to shape everything. Almost like you can get away with anything as long as it's connected. And then this trim goes to there. And it's falling and setting behind that. And let's see, we got some divisions here. Too crazy. I like the top of my stair line here. That's a good guideline I set for my brain. Guess this, as long as it sort of looks like it's made out of pieces. Like a lot of unnecessary masonry work. Like as far as like structural integrity goes. They're sort of chambered like that. And this isn't even here. Again, that was one of those just like things I drew in. Not doing the best job at not like watching out for smudging. I've already smudged so much that these stairs are gone. I like trying to eyeball the perspective grid more. It's always worth revisiting though. It's easy to sort of get lost in the details and then get off track. But that's why I like to get a few really strong guideline objects in the painting. Draw this thing. Oh, it's offset to the right. So it's like this thing is sitting center on it, but it's not gonna look that way. Well, if you were like facing this door, it's sitting center. Some very fancy trim work going on here. I used to only draw with pencil, imagine that. A while ago, of course. I mean, if you scroll back on my content, you'll see that I've mainly been painting. The thing is, the screenshot I took in the game, it's so hazy, I'm left to make up my own details anyway. Alright, well, this line goes right to the ceiling. And I gotta make sure it's converging. So there's that line and then a line right about coming out of this thing here. And that should help. Offset or make the 3-point vanishing, the third vanishing point makes more sense. Yo, what's good, us? Good to see you here, brother. Started a little earlier today. I want to go out and get some of my frisbee game in, so I wanted to finish before the sun went down. Basically, I don't know if you remember what Blackreach was from Skyrim, but basically we're drawing I went in the game last stream and we walked around inside of Blackreach and I looked for some cool shots and ended up deciding on this one. I'm gonna have a Dwemer sphere guy right here. Right here roughly. You know what I mean when I say Dwemer sphere, those guys that are super strong. They come out of a ball. Usually have a sword. I think sometimes they have a crossbow. There's ranged ones. But it's a complex scene, so trying to just map it out here in pencil, and then we're gonna get into the coloring. This is actually indented here. So here, divided that in half each, and right above got another one of those side trim pipes or whatever. It's actually thicker than that. Yeah, that's cool, dude. Thanks for the... Just always trying to, you know, pick something I'm having fun with. It's easy to trend follow or draw what you think you're supposed to draw too much. Or almost be so much of a purist that it ends up hindering you in the long run. A lot of artists can get caught in the, well, I didn't think of it, so it's bad. It's no, you're always interpreting it into your own style. I think what's weird is it's so blue in Blackreach that all the bronze is green. Which I guess makes sense because copper gets kind of green. All shades of green. Makes sense because the bronze is yellow and then you have the super heavy blue atmosphere. And that's gonna color mix. It's quite literal like that actually. Luckily. Nature could have made color a lot more complicated if it wanted it to. If it wanted to. Okay, so it maintains the width until just below here, then it cuts into the thin pipe again. I gotta say, the Dwemer ruins were some of my first ruins I've ever tried drawing. Safe to say, whoever artists work for Blizzard and Bethesda, I'm heavily inspired by their work. Just over the years, like it was one of the first things I got into as a kid. Definitely didn't pick the most lucrative choice. I want to grow up and draw pretty pictures. Yeah. Great idea. Being good at something though doesn't make you money automatically. Gotta be good at marketing the thing you're good at. Hopefully y'all can hear the chill music. Feeling a little quieter today. Definitely noticed that is an ebb and flow of streaming for sure. Some days I want to talk my head off and I have all sorts of things to nerd out on, and other days I'm just like, you know what? Just want to draw, man. Hey, Steph, good to see you. Hi, just popping in quick. We're headed to the Grand Canyon. Well, hey. That's amazing. That's a great thing to be headed to for the day. It's much better than looking on this tiny screen, that's for sure. Get some pictures for me. Pop them in the Discord. By the way, anyone that types ! Discord in chat, we got the Discord link. You're free to join, full access, and feel free to post anything in there that you like something you're working on. You'll see all the tabs. I can show you. I got announcements tab, we got the links to all my socials. We got prompt list ideas, you just can enter in anything you want. A lot of people come up with great ideas and never know may paint one. Works in progress, completed works. Mew kills it, man. Mewbit. She is posting up a storm. Here's the last painting. Well, that was before it was done. Yeah, so I ought to put it in completed works. There's a little island painting. General chat, just to hang out. Photography. Share it all. Just share anything. So anyway. Oh man, I haven't. Oh no, I did. I liked these. I saw these. Mew loves drawing her characters, and it's been fun to watch her improve over the years, or the months, I should say. I forget how long Mew's been, but she's an OG watcher. Anyway, that's the Discord. Feel free to join. If you're in there and you have notifications on, you'll be the first to know about if a stream's canceled or starting or prints coming out, blah blah. All that good stuff. People send pictures for sure. Hell yes. Excited. Now, this thing goes into the ceiling of the cave, but it's like there's all these glowy geodes around it everywhere. And the thing is, when you hear people say, like teachers say, like, draw exactly what you see, it's like half the battle. It's draw what you know and what you see is, I think, the correct statement is. And a lot of times in nature you'll find something that you know what it is because you're in context, but what am I doing here? It's actually a whole nother section. It's wider. But a lot of times you find to get something to read on paper, you gotta design it a little more. And the geodes on the ceiling in this are that. Because they designed this area of the game to be like super duper atmospheric and like moody. And a lot of the stuff in it's like hard to see from across the room. And because of that, these like geodes on the ceiling, they don't really look like what they are. It's implied knowledge. It's contextual knowledge, I should say. So, place a few in there. I'll be able to start with them because they're glowing, and in watercolor you want to work from light to dark, so map out a few major spots. I think if I could have restarted this, or with a little bit wider 5-point perspective, or 4-point, I got a little bit crunched here, but that's fine. Just because I think fan art, it calls for like a lot more Easter eggs. You know, like things from the game. Like I want to get the Crimson Urn root in there. The Dwemer Sphere, Dwarven Sphere, Dwemer Sphere. Man, this is actually a cylinder shape, this structure going into the ceiling. So what's happening is this part I'm drawing now is facing us, so it's not gonna perfectly go towards the vanishing point. I gotta make sure I keep drawing these true to perspective here. It's easy to start having fun and then forget the mental guidelines. That's the thing, is like, if the grid's in there, it's more like plug and play. You just throw the stuff on the paper and the lines are there to constantly put your brain in order. I realize I never turned off delivery driving. Oops. Would have been funny, would have gotten like a delivery midstream on accident. Would have had to decline it. Turn off my mile tracker here. I got to like level 63 or 64 last night on my PoE guy. You're always so quick on that game. Like, it's like my problem with Path of the Exile. Is I always play it like it's my first time playing it. So like I still like clear all the rooms and open all the chests. And then ultimately that makes it take way longer. See how it goes, see how it goes. Like I said, I should have designed the placement a little bit better here. There's another glowy mushroom. Yeah, these little tendrils. It's cool, there's this like extra giant mushroom in there that glows more cobalt blue than anything else in the cave. I also think it's beneficial to draw with a pencil sometimes to like practice better placement. The way this mushroom is in the game, it's so dead straight up, it almost looks wrong. So that would be like a design choice. Cause it's like, you know, when they're building levels in a game, they have a bunch of 3D models. And this is probably it's probably two to four to five variants of this mushroom, and they sort of just scale it up and down and squish it and squash it and copy and paste it around. So some objects tend to be placed a little unnaturally. This is one of my favorite Elder Scrolls songs. Love this one. It's like the soundtrack of my life. Listen to this shit for so long. Alright, this drops off here. I really need to make it a point to lean it. I didn't do it enough already. This is sort of the thing that's happening here, just on the other side. And it's got to be lower because remember it's a cylinder. So you think if I drew a spiral around this cylinder, where would it end up on that guideline? staircase is facing us. A lot of subdivided bricks here. Again, for no apparent reason. It's just kind of like... Yeah, you could just make something up. Like, oh, that was... You know, Dwemer architecture. Back in the first era, or some shit. That's how they built their houses. It'd be fun for me to make it clear that these are a bit more connected. Something like that, maybe. Trim piece comes down. That's gonna be in front of that anyway. That works out. Alright. And, just goes right into the rock here. This is a ceiling. It comes down to the ground, really. I always tell myself I should have drawn a little bit smaller. I think it's the consequence of drawing on smaller paper, though. Tendency to make things too big, 'cause it's like you're zoomed in your brain, you're looking at it. The way our brain visualizes stuff, when you're looking at an object, you sort of blow it up in your head, and then it's easy to like overdo that on the paper and throw all relative proportions out the window. And if anything, it's more detailed because it's more crunched together. I think for me that this line, the more I look at it, can just come out a little bit. Just a little bit. In its angle. Or like that. That one too. That feels better. Sometimes what I realize with this perspective stuff is sometimes it's the difference between a millimeter. Something can be off or not, believe it or not. Definitely subject depending, but I think the more blobby something is, the easier it is to hide it. But the second you get all these straight edges, it stands out way more. Funny part is the way it's tilted, because of the way the camera is, it's like diminishing my tilting on the paper a little bit more. I remember the first time I ever drew, I just remembered this randomly. Elder Scrolls fan art was in middle school. Those were the Morrowind days, and for my art class I had to find like a photo reference. And for those Morrowind fans out in the crowd tonight, I drew State of Neen, it's called. It's the starting town. And there's a sort of... there's a lighthouse in that town, and that was one of the scenes I drew. I wish I had it. I lost it in a house fire several years back. Wish I could see how bad it is. I still feel bad at art all the time. But that's the toxicity of the internet. You end up measuring your own success with the wrong metrics, and then it just makes you feel bad. It's just like a news feed of a constant bombardment news feed of people that are just doing way better than you, supposedly. But again, you know, it's toxic. It's not something to tune into too much. Kind of the same thing as how, like, they don't want young kids, especially girls, like, on Instagram comparing themselves to, like, unrealistic beauty standards. It's almost like the same thing for artists. Comparing yourself to unrealistic artistic skill level standards and success. For me, it's more about like figuring out how to sell more art. But to be honest with y'all, it gets more and more exhausting to try to figure that out, and more fun to just figure out some random way to pay the bills and then draw in my free time. Which I don't get as much time in with that, but oh well. Alright, I'm feeling better about those lines. Tweak that one by a millimeter. And it's not so much millimeters off or noticeable when stuff's far away, it's like when it's right next to each other. Like right here, like these two things. It's in a millimeter. They have to be same universe, but across the paper doesn't matter as much. There actually is a Dwemer sphere chilling way over on this one, but I want to put it on this one because it'd be too small. That'll probably be one of the most time-consuming parts to this drawing. Just due to how fancy they are. It's almost like I gotta pick a generation of one too. It's like, am I drawing the Oblivion version, the Morrowind version, Skyrim version, or the Elder Scrolls Online version, because it's very different. Main shape is the same, but like their intricacies are different, which is a good lesson to drawing the main ideas, you know. You can recognize a dwarven sphere whether or not it's a Morrowind one or an Oblivion one. Tossing in some land texture for fun. This soft mechanical pencil lead is a joy to draw with. It's different than that HB, you know? If anything, these perpendicular lines are the most important for the stairs. Oh. Alright. And so you can tell this smaller mushroom is just a scaled down version of the bigger one. Stuff like that. You can design back in the natural feeling. Okay, that's about detail that tower needs. And these glowy geodes, they're all placed on the ceiling. Kind of just look like ore veins, you know? Maybe I can try to bring in the perspective a bit. And the texture pop on the back wall here. Essentially, we have this big edge of rock, and the ceiling sort of like wraps behind this. Sometimes subtle things like that are hard to get just right. Honestly, a lot to do with it standing out is gonna have a lot to do with the buildings and how they're man-made looking against the lines of the rock ceiling here. just keep the other one more faint. It's basically just all rocky texture from there. But I want subtle variations in the texture. The thing is, like, no light. The only light source in this place is the mushrooms. These like super glowy rocks too. Which, if you think about it, would be freaking really bright to light up a whole cave. Like, if anything, it's brighter than it would actually be in real life, right? They just had to like do that for the game because you can't walk around in pitch black. Because I think about like bioluminescent things, they're not like flashlights. Stone sort of grew right here. And the thing is, there's a very clear value map in this composition where it's gonna go bright, dark, bright. Because basically we have mushrooms lighting up this area, little area here. Then we have mushrooms lighting up this whole thing, but nothing to light it up in here. So everything's gonna get more silhouette-y. In the middle. Yeah, so I guess ultimately that means the sphere has to be right here. Makes sense. Dwarven sphere up here. Very low res picture. Wow, those things are fancy. Fancy looking. Yeah, the Morrowind version is so much simpler. It's probably an Elder Scrolls Online version right there. I should show you the difference. Let me get all three gens. See, Dwarven Sphere, Oblivion. And then Dwarven Sphere, Skyrim. So I'll put them in order of time, chronological time. Actually, no, it looks like a Skyrim one. I mean, I'm sure they use to save themselves time some of the same models they had in Oblivion when they moved over to Skyrim. We typed the prompt differently. Oh, that was someone that modeled one. That's why it looks weird. Oh, the Elder Scrolls Online one looks like the Skyrim one. So they probably borrowed that model. Oh yeah, they do have crossbows. Let's see. Can't find an Oblivion one. Oh, I guess that's fine. Check this out. So here's the Morrowind one. Boy, graphics have come a long way, huh? I like the rustiness of the Morrowind one though. And then here's the Elder Scrolls Online / Oblivion / Skyrim, because it seems like they're using all the same models. Look at that face. It's almost like they tried to make it look like a dwarf, and they went way more like this is a robot. Mine will probably come out looking more like the Morrowind one though. Only because there's not a lot of room for these kind of details. So far away. Wow. They went all out. Interesting. There's so many things in video games that like defy engineering. Because it's like, what is this? You know, like what is this attached to? How is it rolling? And you know, how does it steer? And like made out of metal, like it's not smooth. You have these ridges. It's like it just be like kink kink kink, you know, on the ground. So here's a good case of like draw what you see more than what you know. Because drawing what you know with this would probably start trying to make you like work out engineering problems. Anyway, the Dwarven Sphere. Stop my recording and start another one. Alright. Actually, this almost looks like it goes back into like a hallway or something. Alright. I think Crimson Nerner's gonna go right here. Dwemer Sphere here. Ballista here. And I think the last thing, without making it too busy, I'll add next time is like a steam pipe. Because in Dwemer Ruins, there's a lot of steam flying out of these pipes everywhere. And I think that really gives it the vibe. I don't know, care. This just proves my point on this Dwemer sphere. Look, there's just steam flying out of it. They're like steam soul gem machines or something. Who knows how they invented them? Maybe that's why all the scholars within Skyrim are trying to figure it out. Well, anyway, on that one, short and sweet. I love you all. I hope you have a good night. Thanks for coming in for a minute and hanging out and sketch. I will see you Saturday, if not before then. And yeah, thanks again. Check out the Discord. If you're on YouTube, do me a huge favor and subscribe and like the video. Helps me tremendously. And yeah, we'll get the Dwemer Sphere, Nirnroot, and Steam Engine thing in next time. And hopefully within the next stream we can start watercoloring this bad boy up. And that's when it gets fun. I'm already trying to think about how I'm going to do the wash, because this is a much more tricky one in the sense of, like, watercolor a lot of times, like if you're just doing a sky or something in nature, it can be simpler in the way that like everything kind of works into itself. But like I'm gonna have to map out, because the thing is, these mushrooms, to make them look glowing, they have to have an aura around them, and so I'm gonna have to wash a light glowy blue aura around the area that the mushrooms will be illuminating, and then sort of slowly work in the colors toward that. It'll be an interesting challenge. And also the interesting color palette of like bronzy gold with dark blue cave, which is gonna make a lot of greens, so we'll find out how that goes. I'm almost gonna want to do this again, and honestly, like, I wanted it to be a little wider angle, and I think more particularly what I could have done was have the horizon a little bit higher, so I'm not looking up so much, but there's a lot of cool glowy geodes on the ceiling, so you kind of have to look up, and then looking up gives like the big feeling of the towers, so I'm trying to capture that. Anyway, that said, have a great night. I love y'all. Appreciate you tuning in. I'll see you again Saturday around 4 to 5 starting time. The schedule says 5 to 7, but as we saw today, I started a little early. It can happen if I just want to hop in. So take care. Hope you have a good day.